Welcome to Dicejunkies, and this is Perception Check, episode 26, where we discuss Middle-earth, microtransactions, and more. I'm here with
Q,
Damien,
and I'm Xenodamus. Hope you enjoy. Alright, so let's start off with comedian Jerry Lewis dies at 91. Now, our older person on the show, he remembers this guy well.
I'm going to defend him, man. I grew up with Jerry. I watched all the way back to his black and white stuff, man.
No, I used to watch his black and white stuff growing up. I think he had stuff on TV that was so iconic that you couldn't grow up and not know
And
Jerry
all
Lewis.
the telethons, remember that? Oh, those are...
I mean, probably not the current, I guess, generation probably isn't seen as much of the Jerry Lewis because TV's not as big of a thing now.
There's some cool kids out there that look up the good stuff.
Well, yeah, no, I mean it's just a TV. You know, where we grew up on the broadcast TV.
yeah, 3-channel TV.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so you were limited.
Yeah.
I'm going to act like another time, man. Y'all went way back with 3-channel TV. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, you never had
I was middle class, you broke bastards.
well,
Black
I'm
privilege,
the one
baby.
that went outside in the rain and the snow to turn the antenna.
yeah.
Never thought
yeah.
I got to pull black privilege on y'all like, you poor white bastards.
Oh. Well, we weren't necessarily poor, but we lived out in the country growing up, so there was no access to cable. You know, even if we had the money to get it, and we eventually got like the large satellite dish that had the big motor on it that cranked it.
Yeah, those things were a trip.
Nope,
Yeah.
never got it.
Yeah, I lived in like civilization, but I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
was rough for you out there.
It was. But anyway, so Jerry Lewis died, so we say goodbye to a great comedian, and sadly, he was not the only comedian to die this past week. We also lost a second comedian, Dick Gregory, who was also a activist. Honestly, his comedy bridged a lot of that gap between blacks and whites, and did a lot of help, I think, for the community as far as being that bridge.
Mm-hmm.
While I like a good rant or even a dark humor, I have to admit that ultimately I always find people like Dick Gregory and George Carlin to have been amazing comedians due to the fact that their comedy also hit you intellectually, made you think, and it had a point. It's just like with music. I always prefer something that has some damn content. And you listen to Dick Gregory, you're going to get some good humor, but you're also going to walk away with some things to think about, but not in a dark way.
Yeah.
You're not like depressed. You're just like, man, that guy had some good points.
Pairing it with George Carlin's style is very right on there. Yeah.
And I like that because George Carlin's humor don't seem dark, but also he had some great social commentary. Dick Gregory's civil rights, especially at the time, oh man, like he was doing comedy that today you see it. Oh, nobody has to be scared. They get on stage.
He was big in the 1960s, which
is back when people were disappearing and having accidents for that kind of comedy. So there's a lot of courage there, and I'd say that he's a groundbreaker for a lot of the other comedians that came along now. Mm-hmm. Any comedian that any black comedian or other civil's right.
Well, I mean, honestly, just to me right now is the worst time that a comedian can pass away because we have all this shit going on. And the last thing we need to lose is somebody who can find humor in the dark.
And while talking about relevant things, we need somebody to get on stage and kind of call us on our bullcrap right now, but in a way that, like you said, unifies.
Yes.
Because the problem now is we're divided.
So we're going to say goodbye to Dick Gregory also before we get too political here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He died at 84.
Mm-hmm.
So still lived a
good life.
And Jerry Lewis died at 91. So at least they're giving us as many years as they can. Like last year was a lot of shockers.
So, yeah.
Now we're getting some people that's like, oh, you're sad, but you're like, hey man, thanks for sticking with us.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. So, all right.
It does make me feel old, though. Like, God damn it, man. I'm outliving everybody.
Well, I mean, you're nowhere near their age, so.
I know, but where's the new generation of talent? Like, who's the next freaking Jerry Lewis or Dick Gregory?
We already got all that rant in another episode. So.
I'll never stop ranting. Every time a celebrity dies, I like. Like when Bruce Willis passes away, I think that's going to be the death of action heroes.
Shut up.
Oh, don't even go there. So Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite had a new story trailer, which I don't do a lot of fighting games, so that's more UQ. So if you want to,
I'll do a short shout. I mean, they brought out some more people for the Night Stalkers fans. We got Jeddah, main protagonist and villain. Looks like they're going to make him a rivalry with Thanos. Thanos is introduced. Love his artwork. Really good. The presentation. He looks awesome. And they're going forward with the story with a lot more character. We saw Ghost Rider, man. We saw. I saw Zero. I thought it was just going to be Mega Man X. I saw Zero.
Yeah,
I don't know
Zero.
if these all are playable, but it looks like this is going to be the biggest roster we've seen in one of these games. Black Panther recently popped up. Now, a short aside is that you're not going to see your X-Men. Most of the Fox movie rights characters, like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, are out. There are some people that said they saw Doctor Doom. I didn't see him myself, but they're expecting Doctor Doom. Rest are out. So, yeah, Disney and Fox are still going at it. This gives me the prediction, we can see if I'm wrong, that you're likely to see DLC with the Inhumans to fill that slot. So my next prediction is later on, the Inhumans, especially after the show hits the street, is going to fill that role. They're going to put them out to fill out the mutants that aren't there.
Which I think Doom was one of those villains that were
He's
one of the
crossed over.
shared, yeah. And I think that's why they would still be able to get him and not have to pay Fox.
Well, I don't think it's actually not paid. From what I've been seeing, it's advertising. They don't want to get the free advertisement. Yeah. Now, I'm hoping this means we'll see Doom in a movie because he's so freaking awesome. I don't have to see Fantastic Four. I'd love to see the Avengers or one of these side Marvel Universe movies have Doom.
Well, because you have several characters coming up. I mean, you have the Cloak and Dagger TV show coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You have Spider-Man. All these characters have run up against Doom. Doctor Strange, I think, even ran up against Doom.
Doom cast magic. I think he helped Doom with an issue. But just the last thing is that also there's a good chance that if we get a Black Panther 2, Black Panther, because he's also got his own country, and is like solo, has had quite a few dealings on a political level even with Dr. Doom.
Okay.
So if he comes in, he may be an Easter egg.
Yeah.
I'm predicting a possible Easter egg in the first movie, or maybe appearing in another movie and probably with Black Panther.
Okay. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps that stuff up. Now into the juicy bit of things that I read about that I'm so angry about.
A stretch here because we're joining the rant team. Angry Joe and a lot of people have had some good fallout about this.
I first saw Angry Joe talking about it, and then I saw Jim Sterling talking about it, and I was just sitting on my couch as I was watching it, fuming. So, Middle Earth,
Shadow
of War. We've heard us talk about it on here a couple of times already, hyped up, ready for it, want to play it.
I just beat the other game, man.
Yeah, I replayed the Shadows of Mordor so that I could get even more hyped up for Shadows of War. And then they go and do micro-fucking-transactions. Now, they'd already ticked me off a little bit because I looked at them and they already have this huge lineup of DLC, wanting to charge like $99 to get all of that. And I was like, okay, they're money grubbing. But I was like, I really like the game. I'll deal.
Well, let me say this, though. Having just played the original game, I'm going to be honest. I could have went without the DLC. And I love the game, but I played the Beast Hunter and the Calibrimba, and I was like...
Well, no, I still haven't really played the DLC on the first game because it's all separate from the main
It's separate,
line.
and honestly, as much as I love Shadows of Mordor, I went back to the main game and just played more of the main game. I was like,
and that was my thing. I was like, I can probably deal without the DLC, no big deal. I may pick it up when it becomes a Game of the Year edition or something like that, and I can get the DLC for really cheap.
But they've got microtransactions. They invented a whole new tier of gear, I think. Like, there's a legendary followers that you can use stuff to get.
So from what it looks like, they half-assed this multiplayer aspect that affects the single-player game, where you can do fortress battles, and if you lose the battle, you lose characters in your single-player game permanently. So then
but I do think it's optional. Let me throw that in.
It is optional. The multiplayer is optional. But, they implemented this coin system to buy these packs, in which destroys, the game had such, at least the first one, had such a world environment and this neat life aspect of things upgrading and stuff like that. But now I'm going to be pulling damn orcs out of chest,
I preferred the challenges and going out there and, like you said, working my way up to it. And what bothers me is just this. It's actually the worst part to me is I can live a little bit with microtransactions, though I do fear, like Joe and Jim said, that the way they'll do it is, you can get everything in game, but it takes 3 months.
Yeah.
But that's my first fear.
Yeah, that was the thing, the useless grinding to try to justify microtransactions.
And then number 2 is, like some folks said, is also the multiplayer is optional if the best stuff is hidden behind you have to go do this multiplayer, which of course is pay to win for the multiplayer side. You don't get the best runes and stuff. That's an issue that I don't want to face. And the third one is I can live with microtransactions if they're reasonably priced, actually. I just reloaded Secret World Legends.
No.
But
if I'm paying $60 for a game, I should not have microtransactions. Fuck that. That's stupid.
That's you. Okay, you're right. But I will also say this. Of microtransactions, what I hate the most is that random bull crap. Because I don't want to pay you my money and not get what I want on top of that. I can't stand this. All right, I gave you $20. You gave me a chest. I didn't get what the hell I wanted. Hey, let me at least pick what the heck I want. Because that's even worse, because that can make you spend piles of money and continuously get crap or useless. Don't give me no 20% chance for an epic. You better freaking give me what I paid you for. So that makes it even worse because you're not even sure that you're going to get your money's worth when you do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't agree with it. I think it's a dumb move, and honestly, they're not getting my $60 to $99. That's not happening.
Oh, you're actually out on Shadows of War?
Oh, I'm out, man.
Will be Shadows of War?
I'm not saying I will never play it. I'm saying I'm not buying it out the door and waiting for it to go on the sale. I'll pay $20 or for a Game of the Year edition, but that's the most I'm paying at this point.
I have to actually say that you've got me thinking about it, and I was planning on getting it out the gate, but it's too risky.
I mean, with the combination of the microtransactions and all the DLC, that I don't know how it's going to be implemented.
Oh, you're right. Too risky, man. I can't pay full
it's
price
a high
for something.
risk. Yeah, it's a high risk purchase, and
especially when I can wait a year and probably get the whole dang thing, like you said, at a reasonable price. Mm-hmm. And by then, most of the min-maxers are probably done playing. I can play with the more relaxed crowd because it's going to be a rush for the people that love to pile money on it.
A lot of those microtransaction deals, I've seen other games that have started it, and as the game aged, they just sort of dropped it. Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't, they weren't getting enough money from the system to keep the system up for the micro.
And even if I did get it, I'm definitely not doing that damn online thing. Because, like I said, I'm not sinking extra money in, and I'm not fixing to lose my orcs because this dude over here wants to spend $300 on friggin' Shadows of Mordor.
Well, no, and that's my thing is, and there is, like you said, it may not be as bad as it looks, but it's I don't know. And there's no way of telling.
I just hate the perma-threat. Like, you're telling me I could actually lose stuff if I go online and it's paid? Like, that really sucks because that means the person with the least money is not only not competitive, but they're actually getting raped by the people who have the money because they're losing stuff. Mm-hmm. So they're actually teabagging you, taking stuff away from you. That is the biggest, that's bigger pay to win than any other game I've seen. Because at least on Call of Duty or whatever, somebody bought, well, I'm not saying Call of Duty does it. I just threw that name out. A random game that does pay to win, you get your butt kicked, but you still have your stuff.
Yeah.
You don't get robbed in the process. It's not a mugging, but now it's a mugging.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be as bad as it looks. I mean, the way Angry Joe was talking about it, and what Q said. I don't like the random chest.
Mm-hmm.
If I want that legendary, all right, that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm not going to pay you. I think the cheapest one was what, $4.99 or something like that for the smallest chest, and the better chest costs more money. Okay,
It's still not guaranteed.
and it's still not guaranteed. I'm not doing that shit. There's only one game that I really enjoyed the microtransactions in, and that was WoW. And they were cosmetic or pet or something like that.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of money on it, yeah. So I enjoyed it. It gave me happiness. There's no happiness here.
No.
There's no happiness at all in this bullshit.
Well, I hate to say that. Well, go ahead. Finish.
Well, what I was going to say is, I brought that video to you, all right, and I was like, dude, watch this, because it looked fucking awesome, all right. I watched you play the original, and I was like, that looks really good,
Yeah.
but it's just not my kind of gameplay. Well, we watched that video, and it's like, man, that's badass. I went and bought Shadows of Mordor, and I played it, and I sucked at it, and I rage quit a couple of times, but I was going to learn how to play the game, and then I was going to buy this game. And now I'm not doing any of that shit. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of my time. I'm just not going to do it. I don't like it at all.
Well, no, they burnt me, man.
And he is right. I've played games where it's like, okay, we got a microtransaction, but what you do is you buy this currency, but now here's a shop. And you can go in and you pick what you buy. So at least you can actually achieve your goal. Like Blade and Souls, at least their shop tends to have what the frig you're looking for when you go buy it. So at least you get what you paid for.
Yeah.
I'm going to be furious if I'm like, I'm not an archer. I prefer melee. I buy this legendary test, I get a fancy bow. Or I get an armor that gives me better monster riding. I'm like, that's not my damn playstyle.
Yeah.
I'm going to be mad.
I played it was a free-to-play game. It was a browser game. All right, I don't remember the name of it, but they had microtransactions because it was free to play, But what you could buy in there, you could buy crafting mats,
Yeah.
You could buy stuff like that. You could buy some. You could buy some cosmetics, and then what I would do is I would go in and I would buy the crafting mats, and then I'd go to the center of town, and you could open a shop, and I would sell the crafting mats in the game for gold, but it didn't break the game. It didn't give anybody an advantage over anybody else, But this, man, it's not interesting to me in the least. You're gambling with your money. Point blank, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
And then this multiplayer stuff, I don't like to do. I don't like to be in a single player game and have any, like Andromeda. I've never done multiplayer in Andromeda.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
I think it would have been awesome if they'd actually instituted where, okay, you can go attack other people's forts, but it doesn't affect them in any major way. It's just something cool, like my boy Zeno could set up his fort. Maybe he's got a bunch of freaking guys with curses, and we saw necromancers in the video. Zeno loves magic. I could see him with like a badass fort with magical defenses. It might be fun for me to see if my army can raid it, but at the most, just a scoreboard. No permanent harm done.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets a little money if his guys kill me. And if I get in, I get a little money. But don't F up anyone else's game. And especially don't institute a pay-to-win factor in this multiplayer, because now it's a play field that's going to alienate us working folks that don't have 99. Because my God, if you get the $99 pack and then you start going to pay to win, you bought yourself a friggin' console by the time you're done getting yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just go ahead and add another console to my collection.
And there is always the aspect of you don't have to buy the microtransactions. And I understand that that's where a lot of people are going to look at this and go, hey, there's microtransactions. You don't have to buy them, And I understand that point of view. But to me, they should have never been there. And you have to justify microtransactions somehow. So, and Jim Sterling and I think Angry Joe both mentioned this. when you go into justifying it, what do? You're going to add to the grind. You're going to add some senseless quest type stuff.
Unique rewards for people that put the cash in.
Well, we don't know about that. So, but we do know that you will have to grind at least to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Or no one will buy it.
Yeah. So if maybe it's just a time saver, I don't know. Now, the way it looked is there is very little of this premium money you'll get from grinding, and some really epic, unique stuff come from these things. So where from grinding you may be able to get 1 or 2 boxes, that will be about the extent of it.
And I already heard they talk about like going legendary followers right off the bat. The first few people that go online, there's even if you can do it, they've already stated that like, oh, I could just make this guy legendary. Mm-hmm. Well, you know someone's going to jump online with like a whole fort full of legendary guys off the bat.
Somebody is going to have the money to put it up. But anyway, the whole point of this was they've added microtransactions to it. I don't agree with it. Where I endorsed the game before and hyped the game, I find myself in the wrong. I take it back because I cannot support this game anymore and say that I'm looking forward to it anymore. And I wanted to make sure to have an episode with this in it because I had talked the game up.
True. Well, how would you fix it?
I would have never put the microtransactions and the multiplayer should. Like Andromeda and like a lot of other games, you have a separate thing. If you want to do multiplayer, hey, that system looks like it'd be fun to do a multiplayer type thing, that building, but pull that outside of the.
You're on the same page as me.
Player.
I would have liked to see it like
I don't mind you having microtransactions for the multiplayer and all that stuff. I still think it's stupid, but it doesn't affect me mainly. I think microtransactions should pretty much be limited to non-game changing stuff, but. And even then, it's getting abused there in a lot of cases.
But you know what? You made a perfect point. That's actually what I was going to say. That's my solution. Because with the way Andromeda and a lot of games do their multiplayer, you literally have like a separate character over here for that. So it doesn't affect the grind of the main game. I would have liked to seen this multiplayer aspect be like on the current game DLC where here's a separate mode. You have your online version of your character. You can spend all the money you want over here, but it will never come into effect with the main game. The main game doesn't have extra grind. This is solely for the competitive people off to the side. Yeah. And it's a whole, you build this solely separate. That way, it wouldn't affect us. We would not feel like we're losing something where they're adding grind to the main game because we don't want to play their cost mode.
All right, well, we've been on this topic for 10 minutes, so let's go ahead and get off of that. That'll round up our perception check. Hey, guys, thanks for watching this episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and down below we have a description with all of our social media. Check that out. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Google+. All the links are down there. You can see some behind-the-scenes stuff, as well as, just whenever we're posting something, we always post to those medias as well. Also, you can look over to the side here, and we'll have some links to some other videos you might want to check out, as well as below you'll see the Dicejunkies icon where you can click to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.